Hello, and welcome to day 2 of me documenting my journey with artistic, creative mental health recovery stuff. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm gonna attempt to be brief. And what I wanted to talk about real quick today is navigating recovery spaces and terminology, especially things that are framed as spiritual, from the perspective of an agnostic atheist. So I am a queer person and was raised Catholic, and I have a lot of the same kind of religious baggage that you would expect stereotypically from someone who is queer. And queer people do make up a disproportionate number of people who do experience some kind of mental health illness stuff, which makes sense because minority stress. So for me personally, it's been really hard to when I see things even the Artist's Way, which is really helping me, talks about being a spiritual path to creativity, or dialectical behavioral therapy. One of the ideas that you're supposed to accept is the idea of a higher power. And all of that's been really hard for me historically. So in the past I've just thrown it out. But I think I've cracked it. 'Cause I do not personally believe in a capital G God. I am very much agnostic atheist, influenced by a long background of being in STEM. And for me, it's been really helpful to think of my higher power not as a god, but as guiding principles that I can believe in. So, for example, when I have been doing work with higher power stuff in terms of dialectical behavioral therapy and calling on a higher power, I have personally so far decided that my higher power is art and community. And so when I am having a hard time, I like to ask myself, what are the ways that I can fall back on my art or my community to fix this, or help with this? And that's just what works for me. I've heard stories from other people who aren't spiritual in 12-step programs, for example. I'm definitely stealing this anecdote from, I want to say, Tumblr, but I can't remember whose it was. But there's someone out there on this earth who talked about being in a 12-step program and being atheist and choosing George Michael, the singer, as their higher power. Because ultimately the objective of calling on a higher power is less about getting yourself to believe in spirituality, and more about getting yourself to believe that there are external forces that can strengthen you, and you're not trapped doing it alone. And I think that's true regardless of whether you believe in a god or not. So maybe this helps. Hope this helps somebody. Basically, you've just got to believe that something has your back, and it's less important what that something is than that there is some kind of something.